Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to NXT The Game, Season 1, Episode 2. Let's get straight into the action. We get highlights from NXT TakeOver Orlando. Aleister Black defeating Andrade Cien Almas, Asuka retaining versus Ember Moon, the Authors of Pain retaining against DIY and the Revival, Sanity winning their huge 8-man tag, followed by Bobby Roode defeating Shinsuke Nakamura, only to have Eric Young lead Sanity attack him after the match. We fade to ringside where Tom Phillips, Nigel McGuinness, and Steve Corino welcome us to the show, with Tom Phillips letting us know we are here for one hell of a night planned on NXT, including the vacating of the NXT Women's Championship as Asuka was called up to WWE television. I would just like to point out that I predicted the entire TakeOver event, guys. I ran up my show. I put it up before they actually ran TakeOver. Aleister Black got that. Asuka got that. Authors of Pain got that. Sanity got that. Bobby Roode got that. I went for 5 for 5 in real life, so that's great. So follow me, guys. Apparently I know what I'm doing a little bit. Or you may not be a fan of WWE and I might be turning you off. But anyways, let's get straight into the action. Alrighty. As we fade away, Bobby Roode theme hits Glorious Blares, and Bobby Roode shows up on the ramp with a black eye and his NXT Championship over his shoulder. Bobby takes a step down the ramp when Eric Young, Alexander Wolf, and Killian Dane with Nikki Cross show up and send Bobby Roode sliding down the ramp. Sanity, who attacked Bobby at NXT TakeOver Orlando, seem to have gotten their mileage yet, as Sanity begins to lay fists into Bobby Roode. NXT officials run out to break it up as Sanity backs off and Nikki Cross pulls a microphone out of her cleavage. Eric Young says that Sanity has been waiting patiently for their chance, for their opportunity to make an impact here in TNA. Well, their time is now. And I put TNA, but I meant NXT, obviously. Impact, obviously. Threw me off a little bit. But Sanity, obviously, transitioning to Bobby Feuds' next program. Taking out the NXT champion again. I don't usually like to book my champion this week right out the gate, but given that we're promoting tons of guys like in real life, we're going to have to get creative here. Alright, we're going to go ahead and complete Bobby Roode. You're a face now, Bobby. Thank you very much. With the Shinsuke getting called up. Alright, let's go ahead and see what happens next. We quickly head back to the announce booth where Tom Phillips says we'll be getting to the action next. However, Sanity has made their point for a second time in 4 days. They wonder what Bobby Roode and Commissioner William Regal are going to do about what's going on with Sanity, rather. But coming up next, we'll have tag team action here on NXT. Alright, and about that at Subpar Wrestling and Little Heat, the Authors of Pain, Akam and Razor defeat the Bollywood Boys when Akam defeats Gerb Shira by pinfall. So we got the Authors of Pain, your NXT Tag Team Champions, with a strong victory here tonight. Next, the camera fades as we see William Regal in the back talking to DIY to his left and Revival to his right. The teams arguing who should be the next NXT #1 contenders. Dash Wilder of the Revival makes the point that they never had their tag team shots in a 2-on-2 environment, and DIY claims that they just lost last week. William Regal says that he has to get ready for Asuka in a while, and when she's going to vacate the NXT Women's Championship as she heads to Monday Night Raw. But he says they're both had their chance, but William Regal has an chance. He'll give them each one more chance. Next week, if they accept, there will be a #1 contender match between DIY and the Revival. The winner becomes the NXT champ #1 contenders. The losers must leave NXT forever. DIY accept instantly, which prompts the Revival to do the same. So next week, it's all set. The Revival versus DIY. Loser leaves town / #1 contenders match. Now, I don't like to give stuff away, but with Dash Wilder and Scott Dawson being supposedly called up to Raw this coming Monday night, I don't know. Who do you think's going to win, guys? All right, next. In tonight's main event, we will see a rematch from TakeOver Orlando when Aleister Black takes on Andrade Cien Almas. All right, and about that, a terrible wrestling and non-existent crowd heat, Elias Samson defeats Tyon Ben in 6 minutes and 15 seconds by pinfall with the Hollow Bomb. We also had Elias Sampson's turn on Tyon Ben. This is just to get him over to the heel side. I'm actually a really big fan of Elias Samson. I think he's got some good heat going on. I actually think he's decent in the ring. So Elias Samson with the victory here on NXT television. The camera fades backstage with Paul Ellering in the back with his Authors of Pain. Ellering reminds us that he wrote the book on tag team wrestling and that his Authors of Pain will await the loser leaves NXT match next week between DIY and the Revival. He says it makes no difference to him who his authors close the book on. So Paul Ellering promotes more Authors of Pain. And about that featured terrible wrestling and non-existent heat, Billie Kay and Peyton Royce defeat Aaliyah and Liv Morgan in 8 minutes when Billie Kay defeats Liv Morgan by pinfall with the Schoolgirl Crush. So Billie Kay and Peyton Royce get the victory here tonight on NXT, and my match ratings are absolutely fucking brutal. I don't know if this save is just awful match ratings, but we're going to do our best to keep pumping it up, but we got a cult promotion going on here. We cannot be working with these low ratings, so we're going to have to keep working on this and quickly. Next, as we head to the ring, we see NXT Women's Champion Asuka standing next to William Regal. William Regal proclaims Asuka as the greatest NXT Women's Champion ever and says that he's been given the word that she's heading up to the main roster. The fans cheer. Asuka takes in a huge reaction and looks at the NXT Women's Championship before handing it to William Regal. Asuka bows a few times and looks at the crazy as she always does before blowing kisses to the NXT Universe. As Asuka leaves, William Regal says, "This now leaves us without a champion." It says that starting next week, we'll have a tournament to determine the NXT Women's Champion, which will be crowned at our next TakeOver special. So Asuka heading to the main roster, William Regal starting a tournament next week, and we're going with this program and this angle because this is just how I want to do it. Something simple. Asuka leaves, nicely. So next week starting, we'll have a Women's Championship tournament here in NXT. Now a reminder one more time that next week in our main event, it will be DIY Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa taking on the rival Scott Dawson and Dash Wilder, and a loser leaves NXT. Winner takes on AAP match. So that will be happening next week in the main event. But in this week's main event, and about that subpar wrestling and little heat, Andrade Cien defeats Aleister Black in 16 minutes with the Brillante driver. Andrade Cien gets the victory here tonight on NXT. I'm really not sure what to do. My ratings are just piss poor. It's a general feeling that NXT does not have enough interesting storylines going on. This, however, did increase our popularity in 34 regions. It lost our popularity in 11, so we're going to have to do better. We're going to have to book more around, I think, segments and more around angles to get some of these programs up and running. But, yeah, man, so we'll do better going forward. This is a new save. This is a, not great worker statistics, so this will be a fun challenge here in NXT until I get these guys really up and running. Anyways, this was NXT The Game, Season 1, Episode 2. We will have another edition coming later on in the week, and thanks for watching, everyone.